Welcome back to the Ingram Angle. I'm Raymond Arroyo. It was an especially wild 4th of July, not essential, especially, at the White House, where on Sunday cocaine was found. There's been a lot of speculation about where it could have originated, and today KJP was pressed on it.
How determined is the president to get to the bottom of who brought illegal drugs into the White House?
Secret Service is getting to the bottom of it, and that's what matters, and it's under their purview.
But the question was, how determined is the president?
The president thinks it's very important to get to the bottom of this.
He can't get to the bottom of the stairs. How's he going to get to the bottom of this? But I'll leave that aside. One official familiar with the investigation is telling Politico the cocaine culprit is unlikely to be found, given it was discovered in a highly trafficked area of the West Wing. Joining us now, former Secret Service agent Bobby McDonald. He was the assistant special agent in charge of the Vice Presidential Protective Division when Joe Biden was VP. Bobby, Fox's Jackie Heinrich is reporting that the Secret Service is conducting DNA and fingerprint tests and reportedly reviewing visitor logs and surveillance. How long could something like this take?
Well, good evening, Raymond. It's nice to be with you tonight. I think the Secret Service is going to be utilizing every asset and capability that it has in its reach. They're going to be working with other agencies that can assist in this investigation. Nobody knows that facility better than the uniformed division officers and the special agents of the Secret Service who work there every day. They know every nook and cranny of it. They know every place where videotapes are available. They've got the access to the visitor logs. I would disagree with the comment earlier that it's a very highly traversed location. It may be on a Monday through Friday, although I don't think that it's very highly traversed over a holiday weekend. So my guess is that the Secret Service has a fairly good idea of who may be involved in this situation. They definitely have an idea of who was on the campus that weekend.
Let's talk about that, Bobby. The location of where the coke was found is important. Originally, it was a library, then it was in the West Wing, and then this CNN reporter tells us more about it. Watch.
This is typically where tour groups, which can come in sometimes during the weekend, would pass through in order to get a tour of the West Wing, and also near where there are cubbies where people are asked to leave their cell phones. So that is an important piece of information.
Bobby, I think I'm familiar with that area where the cubbies are that they're talking about. Do public tours use that entrance?
No, the public tours use the entrance at the east side of the White House. This would be more for specialized tours for people who are bringing guests in, and the people who would be giving the tours are hard pass holders. So they are known people who work in and around the White House, who have a regular hard pass for entrance in and around the White House, excuse me, on a regular daily basis.
Yeah, so it may be either a staffer or a guest of a staffer, you think? That's what you would surmise.
Again, based upon a holiday weekend, the fact that most people who work in the old executive office building would not be in and around the campus. Sweeps are conducted all the time in and around the White House, as you know, to make sure that there's nothing that's inappropriate in various locations. So the idea that this may have been in the cubby for several days just doesn't hold water for me.
Okay, Bobby, thank you for the insight.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.